I'm going to start a project this fall, and I want to bring you guys along with me. I'm going to be building kind of what I'm calling a garden shed, kind of slash greenhouse. It's not like your traditional hoop house type greenhouse, but really like a little building with a lot of windows. So I want to tell you kind of about this project a little bit. So when we bought our house, at the farm, there was this slab kind of out in the pasture, and it had been a place where this family had dogs. They had a dog kennel system, and it was just dilapidated, terrible condition. It was a real eyesore. I tore it down, and the slab, is of course still good. And so I ended up fencing that off. That's where our garden is. That's where I built our chicken coop. And it used to just be pasture. Well, this slab sits out there, and it's right next to where we have our garden. And I've wanted for a couple of years now to build a kind of a garden shed greenhouse on this slab, so that I can store stuff close to the garden, start seeds out there, pull things inside when it's going to freeze or whatever. And so anyway, I've got some materials now, and I've got the time, so I'm going to go ahead and start working on this thing. Behind me here is a giant window. This is a 5x6 window. I have a couple of them. They're double pane. These things are awesome. I've got couple laid out here. I've got some more old windows. Boom, boom. Bunch there. These are all windows that I've kind of salvaged. I've either picked them up at garage sales or just from things that we've remodeled or so forth. And so here we go. I'm just kind of trying to figure out my layout here. This is a really cool window. This thing is not this is 9 feet long, and then this is a big 5x6, and this is like a 48-inch window. So I'm trying to figure out kind of what this side of this wall is going to look like. I've got a whole bunch of windows to kind of mix and match to put together, and I'm going to frame this thing like I'd frame anything else. 16-inch centers. Appropriate headers, and all the right bracing that you would do for any lumber project. So I'm gonna kind of play around with the fitting on this and get it laid out, and then we'll start putting something together. So I showed you the windows. Another thing that I salvaged is a whole pile of lumber. When I bought the 5-acre tract that connects to us, that I had caught wind that somebody was wanting to buy it for a marijuana grow house. I did not want that in my backyard, so I went out and bought it. And this had a little barn on it. That little barn had some shelves that were not super useful for us. I tore them all out, opened that barn up, and I salvaged all that wood. And I literally... I pulled probably 10,000 nails out of that wood with a hammer. I got them all cleaned up, trimmed them up, and now I'm going to try to figure out a way to piece this little building together with what I got. I want to try to keep this thing as low cost, budget friendly as possible. Wood right now is lumber, and just all materials are crazy right now. And so I want to try to make this thing as budget friendly as possible. I'm going to take you guys along with for the process. The first step is going to be trying to figure out the layout, because I've got all this material, but I don't actually know what I'm going to build yet. So come on, let's get started. Let's see what we can Tetris together with all these pieces. All right, guys. So I'm going to start laying out my spacing for my studs. I want to show you guys how I do that. You've probably heard of what's called a 16-inch center. And so what that means is that our studs are going to fall on 16-inch intervals. So if this is my bottom plate of my wall, and I measure out 16 inches, I'm going to make a mark. And then you're going to go down to 32 inches, and you're going to make a mark. and then you're going to go down to 48 inches, and you're going to make a mark. And what that's going to do is, regardless of our window spacing or door spacing, we're going to keep a 16-inch center with our studs. And in the place of where like a window would be, we're going to keep that. We may, you know, of course the stud's not going to go through the middle of our window, so we're going to build what's called a cripple stud, and we're going to keep our 16-inch spacing. The reason that we're doing that is because construction materials come in uniform sizes. And if we keep that 16-inch spacing, it will make life easier when we do things like put our sheeting on. And it just, it makes a more uniform product, and I think it's the right way to go. So here's my 16-inch mark. Now, the width of a stud is 1.5 inches. And so what I do is I go back and I count 1, 2, 3/4 inch, and I put a mark. And then I go 1, 2, 3/4 inch, and I put a mark. Now, I'm going to mark, and my stud is going to sit in the middle of this. The reason why I do that is it's really easy to, when you're laying your studs out, to say, okay, 16-inch center, and then you put your edge of your stud on the outside edge of your mark, or the inside edge of your mark instead of in the middle. And this is just, by drawing this out, it's a reminder every time exactly where my stud is going to set. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the rest of these out and get everything set, and then we'll kind of look at what we've got. There you go. So I got one of these laid out, and I want to show you kind of what I was talking about. Once these things are put together with your studs on this 16-inch center layout, and how I continue the layout all the way across through the window. So this would be 16 inches, 32 inches, 48, and so on. So each one of these that's marked, you know, like so, is an actual 16-inch center. Now, what I do is you carry that through, even through the window. So, like, this is a long, skinny window, right? Now, what I'm gonna do here, though, this is my 16-inch center, and I'm going to continue it even though it's broken. Same way across. And this creates a nice pattern for you to nail to, and it creates a lot of strength. Now, so then there's some extra boards in here. You know, for example, like this is a 16-inch center, and then I have this one. Well, that is a cripple stud, I believe is what those are called. I may be off on my terminology, but you know, that gives you that extra strength for places where there's going to be a window. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sheet this wall, and this will be one wall that's semi-complete, and then we will get basically continue our Tetris project and build three more walls, and then we'll be ready to start working on a roof. All right, guys, so wall number 3 is complete. So got these two stacked up. It's like I said, this is a Tetris of windows. I'm just kind of making them fit. So the wall on the bottom has 2 big 5x6 windows. This top wall has 3 windows. There's kind of a bigger one that's 4x4, and then the other 2 are 3x4. And then this back wall has this really cool long skinny window that's going to go up on the top. And then this one is 2x4, I believe. This is the back wall. It's gonna have a sink. I'm gonna have a sink that's gonna basically go up to the top of this window, so I'll be looking at the back wall, being able to wash my vegetables and so forth, looking out the window. So now we just gotta get one more complete and then I can start working on the roof. All right guys, so updated. Got the walls up. Got a little bit of a roof going. So, kind of show you what I ended up with as far as the windows go. So this is a big, I want to say that one is 4x4. These are two 3x4 windows. This is where the front door will be. Got a 2x2 and a 2x3 window. These are these big, giant 6x6s. These face to the south, so they're gonna let a ton of light in. And then here is this one. That window up there is about a foot tall, I think, and then 10 feet wide. And then this one it's a unique window. I want to say it's 30 inches by 4 feet, I believe. I went with a 512 pitch. Did like a double beam. Rafters are on 24-inch centers. And then I did a little bit of an overhang here. I did a little bit of an overhang all the way around. And I'm going to, there's more porch back here. So seeing we've got more of this slab. And I'm thinking I'm going to come off this, the roof and build like a pergola type situation so that I have more shade off the front. But yeah, so looking pretty good. 512 pitch, like I mentioned. I went with a 512 pitch because that's a 23.5 degree or 22.5 degree angle, which my chop saw has a setting for that, so it made cutting the rafters easy. But I'm super proud of it so far. Made a little bit of progress. I got to get this guy wrapped in tar paper, and then we'll get the windows in.